Alright, y'all, so before I speak on this topic, before I go to bed, because I think I'm going to get a little bit transparent here, because personally I feel like Chris Evans and his love life should be nobody's business but him and his family's alone. Because why even bother talking about his love life on social media if you're not going to be happy about it? So, Chris Evans was secretly married to his wife, who was in her early 20s. They dated in 2022. So, I'm assuming they're been together for like 2 years before they tie the knot. But my thing is with that, feminism has destroyed a lot of people's minds, in my honest opinion, because what I mean by that is that you have a bunch of feminists crying about grown men dating younger women, and yet you don't hear women crying about older women dating younger men. Where's the hypocrisy in that? Where's the outrage? Where is this energy at where you got older women dating young boys? And yet, you want to slowly focus on the men that are dating younger women. Why is the internet worried about one celebrity instead of worrying about their own self, their own personal life? Like, are you that miserable to focus on one person because you're worried about their own safety? When that person who is happy of who they got, why do you care? Chris Evans is a grown man, and so is Alba. She's grown, he's grown, they're both grown. It's called being adults. According to page 6, Chris Evans and Warrior Nun star Alba Baptista got married over the weekend in what's been described as an intimate at-home wedding in Massachusetts. And while no photos from the wedding have yet to be released, and few details have been revealed, apart from the names of some A-list attendants, it's already brought a new angle to an old dating debate. Emmy reporting on which of Evans' Adventures co-stars attended the wedding, which reportedly required guests to sign an NDA and give up their phones. And a chronology of their dating history, some fans were more than keen to bring up the 16-year age gap between Evans, who was 42, and Baptista, who was 26. They're both adults. She's 26. He's 42. They're adults. What's the issue? People first reported Evans and Baptista's relationship in November 2022. And at the time, a source said that the couple had been dating for more than a year. And while Evans did post about Baptista on his social media accounts, he deactivated them over the summer. I wonder why. Because you got toxic people on social media crying about men dating women who is not their age, especially if they're not black, the same race as they are. And it's really embarrassing that you got toxic people on social media that will go down to continue to bring people down, especially if you don't want to see that person become happy in your life. That has a preference of dating somebody who is younger, in their 20s, that has respect for themselves, that have love and dignity within themselves, then a man is going to want that. And then you expect him to date somebody his age who brings nothing but drama, headaches, and just being a pain in the neck while being with them is another red flag. So what's the problem of him dating somebody and marrying that person who is in their mid-20s? She's an adult and he's an adult. Or did people somehow forget about that? Trying to dissect the age difference between two people has long been a sticking point for people on the internet. Some iterations will focus on how Hollywood ageism would mean, while older actors were still being cast in romances. Their love interests will still be around the same age or only go up to a certain age. But it also means they're setting real relationships between celebrities and Judge Sofia Coppola over a teaser trailer because they thought it romanticized the relationship between Priscilla and Elvis Presley just last week, aiming swirling headlines around Joe Jonas and Sophia Turner impending divorce. The age difference between the two, along with how young Turner was when the two first met, was brought up a lot. And I think that's the most annoying thing, is that anytime when a grown man who is dating someone who is in their 20s while they're in their early 30s to mid 30s, who is young and healthy, having fun, living it up, living their life, all of a sudden it becomes a problem. It's like nobody is talking about what older women are dating younger boys in podcasts, in the media, but they want to focus slowly on the men's side. That's the problem with a lot of feminists right now. That's why it's harder for a lot of us men to have casual conversations with people, because they always miss the point of what we're trying to say. Especially if, when it comes to like the age gap conversations being brought up multiple times, because they don't want to see us date younger women. They want to see us date people our own age. Look, I get it. It's an old school thing, but if you love that person, if that person loves you for you, if the love is there, if the two of them are happy with one another, that's all there is to it. So it shouldn't matter why people care about one person's relationship after another. It's like nobody is focusing on their own personal lives instead of worrying about what other people are doing. It's really annoying. Some people believe that Evans' level of celebrity means the age difference between the two is being downplayed. People are also pointing out the hypocrisy of being okay with the age gap between Evans and Baptista, while finding the smaller ones between Jonas and Turner, 7 years, a sign of something nefarious. For some, a large age gap is in and of itself an issue. Exactly. And I've always said this all the time when it comes to like the hypocrisy, because nobody wants to admit that they're not only part of the problem, but they're also hypocrites as well. So you cannot say or have a say in anything when it comes to like us men in our 30s, in our prime, dating somebody who was younger. That's the main issue I have with life in general. And maybe one day when I do a video with my cousin, I think we're going to have to talk about this on our podcast, because I think I need to say a lot about the age gap and how people feel about it. But for me, I don't care. Age is nothing but a number. As long as that person loves you, then it shouldn't be an issue. But I love what this part says, something about hypocrisy of being okay with the age gap between Evans and Baptista, while you have others talking about Jonas in turn. I didn't see all of this energy back then because I didn't have social media when like Instagram and Twitter came out. So I didn't really focus on that. I was just watching TV alone and watching YouTube for the most part. But I think nowadays, back then, nobody was even talking about it. But now all of a sudden, everybody just wants to hate because of this age gap, 16-year age gap. All because of one man who was older and a woman who was 26 when she's like 4 years of being 30. Stop the cap. Others pointing out that this selling the relationship solely to the age difference is and infantilizing towards Baptista that she can make her own choices. Exactly. They also argued that those representing the evidence about the age gap are missing any nonsense about the discussion. And wasn't I just saying that a few seconds ago? You having a casual conversation with somebody and then all of a sudden they just bring up a random topic that you were just talking about first of all. And if they don't want to just understand and just say what needed to be said because they felt like no matter what you say, you're going to come off as misogynist because of how you say and how you come off. And yet, you got others calling it weird that a grown man who was in his 40s is dating somebody who was in her mid-20s. Where both of them are literally adults. I think those that judge are either Gen Z or just somebody who doesn't understand the age gap in relationships and that don't want to see nobody happy. That's basically where I'm getting this so far, in my opinion. Evans and Baptista have yet to confirm their marriage, but actor Scott Evans, who most recently appeared in Barbie and is also Chris Evans' younger brother, discussed the special kind of hell that Evans had to face whenever he's been in a relationship, and in July 2023 appearance on The Vow Files, some of which has played out online as news of Evans' nuptials spreads. He noted that it's not necessarily all media backlash. It would be people on Twitter who felt entitled to weigh in on Evans' relationships or tag Scott in posts to get them in with his older brother. The way people can be, it can make it pretty hard to date someone like that because you think like, oh, I'm just dating a person, he's a guy, Scott Evans said. And then all of a sudden, it's article after article after article, after post, after tag, for anybody just being like, you're a piece of crap. To anybody he's tried to date and just destroying them. You can only take that for so long and it makes relationships kind of hard for them. Sometimes I feel like in life, there's going to be those that don't want to see you happy at all. Because, especially on Twitter, it's like nobody is going to like you. No matter what you post, no matter what you do, people are always going to criticize you for that one specific thing. Is the fact that you are an older guy that is dating somebody who is in their 20s. It's like, can you at least be happy for him that he found love for the first time? I mean, I don't even know if Chris was married before, but that shouldn't matter to everybody. But of course it doesn't, because the internet, the Gen Z are the worst. Basically, I mean, I like how the young brother, Scott Evans, weighed in on the situation, and I love how he broke it down. It's like when it comes to his relationships on social media, people always have to weigh in on what he's doing, who he's dating, and who he's with, post after post, tag after tag, and it's just getting to a point where social media is starting to become more toxic because it's like it's supposed to be a place where you can express yourself of how you feel and what people are doing, showcasing your talents. But the problem is, it's becoming the most toxic platform of all social medias because nobody is happy nowadays. And that's the sad part that we're living in right now. So all of this makes sense. Here's the thing. Chris and Alba are both grown. They're both adults. They can make up their mind. Let them live their life. Stop worrying about what they're doing. Stop trying to protect her because she's in her early 20s. You claim that, oh, she's young and innocent. He's old. Let him date somebody his own age. It's like you people just want to see somebody go down. You want to see somebody lose hope in life because you're miserable. That does not work like that, my G. And it will never work like that. So here's my thoughts. Like I said, they're both grown. Let them live their life. Because if I date somebody who was in their 20s, I'm taking it. I'm dating that person. If you don't like it, too bad. Because it's nobody's business of who people are dating at the end of the day. If the love is there, if the spark is there, that's all that matters. So maybe just maybe one day in the future when my cousin and her friends are having a podcast, then I would love to be on there because I want to speak my mind on certain topics that I discovered. And if there's some disagreements, as long as there's no arguments, then I'm all for it. Because I don't like drama, I don't like toxicities and podcasts or whatever though. But at the end of the day, I said what I said. Chris is a grown man. Alba is a grown woman. She's 26. He's 40 something. I don't care. Just leave them alone. Enough.